and we did actually call to order at 7:30, so yay us. Do you want to talk about the amended order of conditions right after that?
Yeah, I don't get the no.
Oh yeah, what about the meeting minutes? Okay, good point. We have a copy of the minutes in our packet, and do you want to just put them on the?
I certainly can. You're sharing to that TV just fine right now?
There we go.
Yes.
And I was there, see? Liz Burnford's right there.
I will note Recom Chair Hillary joined us. Hillary, we're still waiting on Owen, so I will I'll let you know.
Owen is here in person. Owen is here in person.
Okay. I didn't hear him enter, so that's good.
Yeah.
We'll go over the minutes and then we'll skip around.
I guess we blew it, but
The floor's carpeted, you wouldn't have heard me.
okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Second. Yes, so if that's the motion.
No, okay. No, you move it. And Steve, you asked. Okay, we got it. All in favor? Aye. All right, unanimous. So
Wonderful.
rather than go to correspondence, why don't we just go right into the 340 Carbon Hill so that we can move through the agenda since we have people here, and then we can circle back to correspondence.
Okay, so this is very simple and quick. So the amended order of conditions is just to reference the new plan. That's like in two places. I don't actually have a printout of the draft, or it's not a draft, but I don't have a printout because we're still waiting on some additional information from the engineer. I don't know why it's taking so long. We just need the revised numbers for the alteration of the riverfront area. So
Which will be minimally different from.
and they may be exactly the same.
And maybe the same.
And so I just need to plug those into Form 5. And then, as I say, it just references the new plan in Form 5 and in the additional conditions, and that's it.
And does everyone recall, it's like they've just added they had to take away.
Oh, yeah.
And then they added.
The replication for the trails.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I'll make a motion to approve the order of conditions. It's just the amended order of conditions is just described.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous as well.
So I do have
it's
signature
signatures.
pages.
Okay.
And then I'll just ask Mary to put those together once we receive.
And there are 2 pages, everybody, so just, as a reminder.
Yeah, that was just a nice piece of work from,
Yeah.
Oxbow.
Yeah, they made it very easy for us.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready? Do we want to do farming conservation land before OSRP? Does anyone care, or?
I would suggest doing the OSRP discussion first, just because it's probably gonna be quicker, and also
Okay.
Hillary from the RecCom is here.
Oh, is interested in that one too. Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah.
right. Sorry,
So,
Hillary. Forgot that's why you're here.
That's okay.
all right, let me share this. I mean, it's yes. All right. So, thank you guys all. Individually, you guys voted on your committees to sign and approve this letter of support for the OSRP grant. I have to change this date because Alec and I learned today that they moved it back a week, which gives us a little more time to polish out our grant application for next week. Hillary, if I know we had only emailed about this just to catch you up. Stop me if you know all of this, but we're applying for $45,000. We approved $15,000 for matching fund from the Conservation Trust Fund, and yeah, we're planning to have a joint committee chairing this working group. or sorry, not chairing necessarily, but leading this working group with either a chair or co-chairs at the head of this. And, you know, if that's you guys, I'll leave that there and I will go to here. So it does not have a timeline on this version of the OSRP, but I did start looking at some dates in the end of April and beginning of May. I know that is a season where we're kind of ramping up for town meeting, but I did want to try to block off some time for our OSRP working group's first meeting, as well as have a short discussion on who we should expect and would like to invite to be a part of that committee. If we plan it over a month out, there's still time for feedback from your boards. You can obviously tell your boards as well, or sorry, commissions, and get everybody on board who would like to cooperate and discuss who you think would be the relevant stakeholders in an OSRP working group. So let me pull up these dates that I have. I'll pause it there.
The last time the commission had 3 members. I forgot about that.
On the working group.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, I'll just say, it was a lot done on Zoom, because I guess it was 2021 when we were putting this together. And it is really interesting. A lot of what the Conservation Commission does is just look at the priority parcels that have been identified in the old plan and just see, are they still priority parcels? Are they still available? You know, and then looking at our long range goals and each of the other groups like AgCom and RecCom also, you know, jump in as well with their priorities. And it was a very interesting process, and I have been on the last 2, and I'm happy to keep going, but if people, you know, if anyone has an interest in it, it doesn't take a huge amount of time. I feel like there were hour-long meetings, you know, fairly regularly. The consultant does all the real hard work of compiling stuff, and some of the stuff we'll be discussing in our meeting, you know, in terms of, you know, priority parcels, for example.
So Ian, do you have a good sense of when the consultant will be brought on board?
Yes, that's another thing that I wanted to discuss is that obviously we're currently applying for grant funding, and after looking at the timeline for that, we can expect to hear back sometime in the summer. Regardless, we know that we have to update this OSRP by the end of 2027, and we want to use this summer as kind of a table setting and getting ahead of the kind of heavier lift that is the OSRP development by doing a public forum series this summer, engaging residents on how they use open space, their priorities, kind of starting that conversation so that when we apply for this grant, quite frankly, we have that planned out a bit. And also, as we finish the summer, we'll have a really good idea of the work that needs to be done in order to complete the OSRP within, 6 to 8 months come beginning of 2027. So I would say that they would probably be brought on by the end of this year, I would hope, if we get this grant. If not, it could push things back a couple months. Alec and I are willing and able to apply for whatever grant funds need to be applied for during the summer if we do get the unfortunate news that the state has not selected our grant. But we are pretty confident that we should be able to get this grant. Obviously, nothing's certain, but it will definitely help our case to begin this process over the summer and go into 2027 with a really clear vision as to what we should be doing.
Because I would say more often than not, I'd say practically always, is that the consultant that's been hired to really lead and direct this effort, joins the meetings, and in fact, usually prepares an agenda for the meetings. I mean, there's certainly no reason why the group can't be formed and start meeting in the meantime. But once the consultant is hired and actually starts working, you know, that you know, they will probably have, you know, suggestions for, you know, really how to proceed.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And once they are on board, we plan on going with MAPC. They just have this planning process down, quite frankly, and they have pretty reasonable costs to develop a comprehensive plan like an OSRP. But yeah, as soon as they're on board, they will join us and we will be able to present them with the work that we've been working on over the summer and through some of the fall as well, and really hit the ground running to be able to develop this plan in a couple months or half a year or so. But yeah, I would expect that to be later this year, probably toward the end of this year. But in the meantime, getting the working group started and planning what our outreach will look like this summer is kind of the focus for probably our first meeting. If we need to have a second meeting before the summer, then we will as well.
When are you thinking of having a meeting? Like ideally, when would the first meeting of this work, of the working group be?
Yeah, right now I was looking at the last weekend not weekend, last week in April. Typically the ends of the months are pretty light for the planning department, for specifically, I guess, just myself and Alec, but there's also not planning boards. There's a few conscom meetings. I believe AgCom is what, second Tuesday, if I'm correct. All right.
There's not many things that meet in the last week of the month, that's for sure.
What was that?
There's not many boards that meet the last week of the month.
And Hillary, remind me, do you guys have a set like monthly meeting, or do you guys go off you guys' availability?
Availability, since it varies. Some of us travel for work. So yeah.
Okay.
Hard.
So I could put in a few placeholder times if that works with you. I had been eyeing Wednesday, April 29th as a possibility, as well as later in the 29th or 30th of April is what I was looking at originally. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday. And then if we wanted to, we could push back even further into May. I don't really expect that will bite us too much, to go back a week or 2 or 3 weeks. But I wanted to gauge you guys' availability first.
Okay, so is there anyone on the committee who would be interested in being part of this group?
I'm interested in being a part of it, although I do have a constraint about Thursday nights in general aren't good for me. I have a long-standing thing, happens every Thursday.
And that's the only night of the week that's good for me.
So, well, just saying. So, you know, so Wednesday, April 30th sounds good. Or the 29th sounds good. The 30th, not so enough. And so, just saying.
Okay. Anybody else interested?
Pondering.
You're pondering.
Sure.
So are you still looking for 3 people from Conscom?
I would say at least 2 people from each committee, and then if there's room, it's completely at your guys' discretion. I wanted you guys to kind of shape this. Obviously, last time there were 3 on Conscom. Hillary and Owen, could you just remind me how many sitting committee members you each have?
I only have.
We each have 5. So
Yeah, we have 3, including myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say at least 2 from each committee would be great. Obviously, I understand people have certain restraints and time commitments. but I'd say start with 2, and then we can see how big or how small we want this working group. Like I said, this working group does not need to be, it really doesn't need to be locked down certain by the first meeting, but having the core team there will definitely be a necessity. So if someone realizes they have a conflict come May or so, there's certainly no issue with that. But I'd like to definitely start off with 2, maybe even 3 per committee, and then we can discuss as well other, not chairs, but members who can sit on the working group as well.
Okay. Well, I'm interested, and then potentially the 2 Steves are interested.
Okay. Wonderful. Obviously I don't need, this is something I would recommend bringing back to you guys as commissions, Owen and Hillary, but if you have a meeting within the next couple weeks or month, please let me know. As for a date, is there a preferred time during the month of April that anyone that you guys would see as favorable? I'm also seeing the 22nd. I had that originally as a potential date. That's a Wednesday.
Would we not have a meet? Are there 5
So
Wednesdays?
that's the 4th
Oh my gosh.
of April. Yeah, we have 5 Wednesdays in April.
Yeah, 22nd.
How about that? Yeah.
Is that school vacation?
It is, yeah.
No. Yeah, it probably isn't ideal.
Okay.
So, well, that night works for me.
Steve at least can be there.
Yeah, Wednesdays are good. I'm already doing Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesdays are good for Conscom, because
As long
you're
as it's
right.
not the same night.
Yeah, because it's the same night. That's true. We haven't decided on.
Hillary, Owen, are there preferable days of the week that you guys would like to look into?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think we've got members that can do any of those. And we've also got members, like David, who can't do Thursday, but, yeah, I mean, I'll put it out there to my group. We don't meet again until the 14th, of April, but, I can certainly, we can certainly try and get volunteers and see what meetings go, or what nights would work.
You said Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Hillary, any suggestion or preference?
Probably a Wednesday, because when we do meet, it's usually on a Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we had said collectively, I heard that we'd like to stay away from school vacation week, right?
I'm probably the only, I don't know if I'm
It
the,
doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me, but
I think.
Whatever for.
Hillary, what was that? Sorry.
I said I may be the only one with kids in school. I don't know.
Okay.
whatever.
So in that case, I'm seeing Wednesday the 29th. Is there
Yeah,
any
let's do
issue
that.
All right, so I'll pencil it in for that. As we get closer, I'll try to lock down a date certain. If we need to revisit, go back to the drawing board for a date, then we certainly can. I see both rooms open as well, so we shouldn't have any issue with booking.
But it turns out I've got.
7:30 for a start time?
Yeah, I think our first meeting, it's not like many of these are going to go super long. Once maybe we're into crunch time, you're talking mid next year, then maybe we'll want to start a little bit earlier, maybe 7 or so. But for that, let's say 4/29 at 7:30, probably in the Morse Hilberg room.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it in person.
We'll do it hybrid. I have no issue with, I'll probably expect to be there in person, at least for the first one, probably for most of them. I'll be honest, I don't anticipate us meeting super common throughout the end of this year, probably once or twice over the summer. But what I really want to do in this first meeting is lock down some goals and objectives for the rest of this year, kind of make a timeline for us, and then start to discuss our outreach methods for the summer.
Okay.
So I'm going to put in a placeholder for this. All right,
Yeah,
let's get to the people, and that's really all we have to talk about beforehand. Are you guys looking at the 2023 OSRP working group?
Yeah, it's on our
Okay.
screen.
So we have the town planner, that will be me in this case. We have Rita representing both the CPC and BCT. AgCom, RecCom, Planning Board. I'm guessing Planning Board, I am going to include because they have offered a letter of support already. Board of Health, is there anything you guys would like to see changed or added to this group? Hearing none?
Yeah, I mean, it's already a big group.
I think Cindy was here, Cindy Withington Barrett from the UCC. I think they were represented because she was basically the town's, like social worker. There had been personnel had left and there'd been that big fire, and she had jumped in with both feet. So somehow she became involved with this as well. But I don't know that.
Yeah, that
They
would
need to
be.
be represented.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah, good point.
I'll look into that a bit. It sounds like if it's the role that you're describing, Wendy might be in that position now. I will bring it up to her and I will kind of I'll ask Mary and Alec, what her role was and try to figure out if maybe Wendy would be interested in this, or someone equivalent. All right, so I will anticipate this will be the starting group that we go with. Obviously, more from you guys' respective commissions are welcome to join the first meeting, or the working group meetings as well. So yeah, other than that, I think we're pretty much all set. I'll get some invites together. I'll make a little poster or flyer, and I will reach out to these commission chairs and have them elect a representative for the working group. And we can expect to meet on 4/29.
Sounds good.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much, Hillary. I'm not sure if you
Thank
are
you.
going to stick around, but I appreciate it, and I'll get something to both you and Owen that you can take as correspondence to you guys' commissions.
Okay, just we meet on Tuesday. If you're able to get it before then.
This next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Hillary.
Bye. Have a good one.
Oh, so now are we ready for farming on conservation land discussion? Okay, we all have there are packets, and there's one on the table if you don't have.
I'll give just a very slight brief, and then I'll let Owen take it away. But I'm not sure actually who approached who, but I know Alec had originally gotten an email. I'll show you guys the flyer. I did not include in your packets. The Metro West Conservation Alliance, those who granted us the SISMA funding for invasive species management, are having they call it a farming on conservation land mixer next Thursday. Alec and probably myself as well as Owen will be attending. So they've put out some resources as well to look into beforehand, such as this sheet, which is included on the back of these packets that you guys have. If you want to see the full brief in this email, there's not much more to it. It explains it slightly here. But yeah, Owen, please, if you don't mind introducing this a bit and where you'd like to see this go.
But thank you, Ian. I guess this, as Ian said, this kind of all sort of came down from different directions at one time. Liz and I had been sent an email by Rita Grossman calling our attention to this thing. The Metro West Conservation Alliance, and they call it farming on conservation land, but it really means farming on public land, I think. But they're trying to connect actually available land with farmers. Because both in their literature and in this introductory email from Rita, it's one of the last things Rita says is, I believe they are planning a future session for private landowners with agricultural value. So they're trying to match up land that can be brought into production with those who are producers. And Alec invited me to a call with this fellow, Michael Perrin, who represents the Metro West Conservation Alliance, and it seems to be organizing this event next week, which put on the screen a moment ago. And kind of like SISMA and some of these other things, it seems to be an offshoot or a closely aligned with SBT, because Michael does have an SBT org email, like so many other people we
Yeah, he's actually an SVT employee.
Yeah. I did get on a call with Alec and Michael had, I don't know whether Alec sent it or Michael just was able to drill down on his own, but he identified several parcels that he wanted to talk about. And so we did.
So Michael identified some.
Yes.
Interesting.
And one, for example, that he called out was he called it high pastures. And I couldn't even, I said to myself, I think that's at the end of the new section of Bartow Lane. And I also,
Have
not Pond, yeah. And I also think it's not the first one we want to drill down on there. So I brought up Rolling Meadows, where the Faulkners had at least for one season, maybe two, you had allowed them to graze their goats there with those portable webbed electric fences. So I thought that might be still something that you might be able to.
So that's the 286, 342 Littlefield Road.
Correct.
I think that's our last one.
Yeah, they're not in probably any, well, they're not in the order I'm going to talk about them in a minute, but
Yeah, we did have, the person who used to live in the farmhouse had goats and then with electric fence, and he grazed, which was good for us because goats eat everything and we have a lot of invasives. I mean, in that field,
I don't think they grazed in the field.
and they did a little bit because he put the would put the fence out, then they would be in there.
But I don't think it was out in the front field, where like birds and, it's more botanically biodiverse. I think it was in the backfield and in this wooded area, back here, where there was a terrible problem. So
yeah, so obviously you guys control the land, so it would be up to you if anything at all.
So are you including animals? Is agriculture?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, animal husbandry. Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit more? I mean, are you thinking, I presume it would include field crops as well, actually?
It could. I mean, it would be up to you. I mean, there's 5 parcels highlighted here. You control all, but you have absolutely control over 4 of them. And the other one is adjacent to Steel Farm and the picnic trust property, which has remained open. They mowed it since the town has owned it, but and it is prime agricultural land, but it hasn't been.
Okay, so that one is.
But let me try.
So what's your next one? Okay,
So
so
the
this,
first one is the rolling meadow, which
is maybe grazing and or
yeah, I think grazing.
grazing,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Which one, rolling better?
Rolling meadow, grazing. Little.
Okay, that's rolling.
Let's see.
It shows several parcels, but it's all in your ownership along with.
Right.
And I'm just trying, it's not so clear to me, is it the parcels that are highlighted, those are the ones, or is it the area that's not highlighted?
It's 286, well, if you're on Littlefield Road, it's 286, 314, 342, and, right, it's inclusive, right?
Yeah, well, so
Correct.
286 looks to be like everything that's not in a little gold box, in a outline box.
It actually is. It's the majority of the parcel, but for some reason, over the
And it's
years,
wooded.
maybe a previous owner was hoping to, carve them off for house lots. I don't know.
Okay.
But the Conservation Commission, correct me if I'm wrong, David, Liz and Steve, but you own, I mean, that's
Correct.
that
It's
whole
all
area.
up.
So all of those, these are house lots, these are all just part of the big rolling meadow.
Right.
Okay,
It's a
so,
little confusing, but,
yeah.
so it means it's inclusive of the 314, 342, and
okay,
286.
okay, got it, because the other maps with the heavy yellow border is pretty
It's
clear,
clear.
you're talking about what's
Right.
inside that.
Yeah.
And here, what you're saying basically is everything you see on the left-hand side of the road.
Yes,
Yeah, you can see down to, the McGowan house on the bottom and up to the Hilton, LaPerry, house on the top, but it's everything in between. And the reason I brought it up first is because you definitely had allowed, the previous owner of, the Hilton LaPerry house, to, graze animals there.
right.
It had happened. And the next one, that, had been the subject of a hearing, and affirmative action by your commission in terms of letting an interested person bring it back to the way his grandfather used to get hay off it. We had AgCom had approached COSCOM, we had an actual advertised hearing. And you had said that the commission at the time had indicated that you would allow this to be brought back into hay production. And the grandson found that he wasn't able to go ahead and do that.
And that's 1011 Hill Road,
Correct.
the Robinson deal, and that is an access point to Patch Hill. That's on Hill Road, and it's, it does lead into the Patch Hill property. So it's the Patch Hill.
And so we thought that, or I thought, when these were brought up, that that would be something that you might consider again for that. Right now, when you drive by mid-season, it's a field of immature bittersweet. It's all you see is the bittersweet, that hasn't latched on to anything yet.
Well, I mean, there used to be a fair amount of milkweed there. I don't know what's happened to it. That would be,
check that lately.
that would be my greatest concern. Milkweed is really important. It's important for monarch butterflies. I would certainly be much more open to doing something on this parcel if that turned out not to be a concern. If there was, very little or an insignificant amount of milkweed. On the other hand, if there was a large amount of milkweed, then I would be much less enthusiastic.
Sure, I mean, that's why I want, Alec, it was brought to my attention, that Alec and you were going to this thing, and I said, well, we can't go to this thing with potential parcels without talking with you all, I didn't wanna do that at all, that's why.
You're doing the right thing.
That's why I came here. And these things, might take a season or 2 or 12, to work out, to decide if these things can go forward.
So there's no urgency here. You're not in a big hurry.
Well, we're in a hurry to establish contact so that in the future we can, help production come back to some of these parcels perhaps, or to some private parcels. We're trying to make contacts here. This is a good start, I think.
Yeah.
How would the land be dispersed?
Well, it would have to be a conversation. Some things, if they're not too far gone, can be brought back by simply, mowing them, in a timely fashion. But one thing that has occurred is that for a number of years now, even these smaller parcels, if they get mowed at all, it's crazy late in the season. And sometimes, like next to Bruce Hager, they didn't even mow that this past year.
Yeah, we have to, remember that.
Well, you know, not going a year, maybe even 2 years without mowing, that's for the purposes of biodiversity, that's not a huge issue. In fact, I know for Rolling Meadows wasn't mowed this year, but, you know, in the management plan, it even said, you know, the commission might want to think going a year or two without mowing. So that's not an ecological disaster. In fact,
It is bad for hay though.
Just bringing something back with minimal or virtually no disturbance, you know, it doesn't help.
Yes, but it's all, the whole point of mowing only once a year, or maybe a little bit less, was to encourage and promote biodiversity on these parcels. You know, if the commission then decides, well, that's no longer the highest priority, that we can allow some agriculture, okay, then
Yeah,
a more frequent mowing schedule would certainly be appropriate.
So that's 1, 2. And 3 was, I already mentioned, the what's known as the
Robinson.
Picnic Trust property,
Oh,
or 420 Middle
well,
Road.
could you, yeah,
So
so,
that's not conservation.
No.
yeah, that's the town, that is the town.
It's one that I know has prime soils and you know, it's in.
So how would you, I know there are entrances in there, but you'd have to come down across the hayfield to get in there.
Yeah, they actually mow across that down by that.
Yeah, way
that
down.
big pile of rocks.
Right.
They did, when the test well was drilled there for water resources, they did breach that wall. In about the highest possible area, so the well rig could go down there and come back. I asked for them to leave it open and they didn't.
You'd have to talk to George Cruz, and that's probably an Indian wall that he would not like to see.
Yeah, okay, so that's.
The only thing I'll say about that one, and it also applies to the Lower Hill Road, the Beaver
Is that
parcel,
so?
is that there is some buffer zone on those parcels. So if there was going to be actually field crops, you know, there would have to be some kind of approval of the Conservation Commission.
Oh, sure.
Buffer zone.
And the one thing that jumped into my brain when what we're calling 125 Hill Road was brought up was that when we had that hearing and discussions before and after, but when we had that hearing for 1011 Hill Road, one of your commission members at the time, Norman Hanover, he says, "Why don't you do that first?" Is because, you know, and at that time, the beavers hadn't, I think, been back much. And he thought that just, you know, I think just going by or just with his observances, he thought that was more easily brought back and made sense to him. But we had the grandson of the person who sold the property that was interested in doing that other one, and we thought it was going to come to fruition. So we hadn't asked you guys about 125 Hill Road. In the meantime, the beavers have come in big time, and it's a couple of things have happened over the years. Even when after the town got ownership and the public works would go in there and mow, they didn't go in there and mow with a cutter bar. And when the farmer did it, he hung the cutter bar over the edge of the ditch from both sides, you know, over the edge of the brook from both sides. And so the trees didn't grow up. And in the intervening generation or so, the trees have grown up. But now that the beavers came in, the trees have all died and the trees are all fallen into the brook. And that had such a good flow. I remember being, I might have had a driver's license, but I don't think I did the last time that was actually dug out by the farmer. And the flow was so good from Beaver Brook that it stayed gravel bottom. You know, the flow just kept that scour. But now that the beavers have come in, and the last couple of times it's dried out, it's like half full of muck. And so between the tree dead parts falling and the beavers, I would implore you, one way or another, whether or not it goes back into agricultural production, but to call Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control. They'll take those dead trees out of there, and they'll do just like they did for Steel Farm. They'll bring that down to the historical bottom of that of Beaver Brook.
So where are the dam or dams located? Are they on this parcel?
No, they're further down, almost to the paddock. Well, there is the paddock parcel, but almost to, speaking of historic stone walls, to the Lancaster County border, which is that stone wall on the far edge of the field.
So it's on the so they're on the Paddock Estates property?
I think they're on the, I believe it's Gutierrez property. If not, that young woman who lives, or a woman who lives where in the Miller's house. I know her first name is Rebecca. I've forgotten her last name.
I thought Gutierrez sold all that property.
No.
No, they didn't.
They own around the house lot. They own around the old Miller's old house.
Oh.
This is on Cunningham Road, actually.
Because I mean, that's really how that problem should be addressed. Is that beaver dam should be.
Well, and it has been. You may recall, and maybe it's happened since, but I remember Dennis was still chairman, and the paddock people had gone to the Board of Health because their wells are both located in those fields there where the horses graze, and the flooding was just too much.
Yeah.
So they got the beaver taken out of there to protect their wells.
So if they keep doing that, the flooding on this parcel should no longer be an issue, right?
But it's, he just says that the brook
Well,
has been,
the trees falling in and the fact that the muck, it's no longer a gravel bottom scour like it was.
Yeah, but that muck can be good for certain critters. So, I'm not sure I would favor,
Well, I'm
dredging out the brook.
I brought that up as into the conversation. It's something I think should be considered,
Yeah,
and nothing that has to be decided instantly, obviously. So, but it would help that parcel to even just support a good hay crop, which together with the pasture up the hill and the pasture across the street is an open area which may help to reattract certain birds.
So how often would, if it were hay, how often would we mow? 2 times a year, 3 times a year?
Well, given that you'd be trying to attract birds,
I don't know if it's big enough for birds.
yeah.
So you
So it would
have
be
to-
part of the conversation.
Yeah, that would be part of the conversation. The other thing is, if you did dredge out the brook, would that drain part of the wet area? Or would have no impact?
One does not know, but to dredge
Because
it
it's
out,
sort of like ditching, right? It's like,
well,
except it's already
I mean,
there.
I don't know what the scope and extent of Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control what it would be if they came in. If they didn't do it, I mean, this would be a major notice of intent filing to dredge out the brook. So that also makes me wonder if.
I'll jump in here as well. A piece of correspondence that I apologize was not printed, but I did just add it, and I can show it here, is the owner of 50 Hill Road. Let me double check that. Yep, had emailed us with concerns to that beaver dam somewhere behind their yard, and we can get to that a bit later. We can get to it now, but I did just want to put that on the table because we've talked about it in the past, but now it is beginning. It's being considered by the property owner.
His own septic system and well are probably.
Oh, so they're back, in other words.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Well, I've certainly noticed the flooding, but I didn't know whether it was a beaver dam or it's just because it's been wet, with all the snow melt. But it sounds like the beavers are back.
This is the area behind the Paddock Estates, right? Like.
Off street.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the parcel they want to put a hayfield on is on the Steel Farm conservation area.
Yeah, so this is 50 Hill, and this is the area that is being considered that Owen's talking about.
Yeah.
This is where it is in relation. Now, this whole thing is Beaver Brook. I did drive by and see a lot of flooding all throughout here during the winter months, all frozen over, as well as through here under this crossing. Yeah.
So, Ian, is that
Cunningham.
if you go to Cunningham, if you bring
Yeah,
back
yeah,
that map? If you see the 2.97 acre parcel, is that what's
this
owned
one
by
here,
you there?
yes.
I don't know that. Well, I guess the beaver dam could be there,
Oh, yeah.
but so you're sure it's on that parcel? I know.
And the people on 50 Hill are complaining.
Ah, yeah, that's.
Yes.
Schoolhouse number one. Oh, no.
No,
new
that's
house. The new house, yeah, that's. the
I
new
thought
house.
that was Gutierrez, but I guess it's.
That's not, is that 111 at the bottom? There, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Yep.
So I mean the flow in Beaver Brook really picks up, heading down in that direction. That's for sure.
Oh, there's a waterfall you can see.
Yeah.
From the Bannock driveway.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but immediately upstream from there, you begin to.
That's where the dam is. Well, I'd be curious to see if that's removed. Even like this time of year, I would expect that the water level on the conservation parcel to go down.
In any event, there's another parcel that we'd like to, historically, when it was purchased from the Livermores, it was allowed to be hay for a number of more years afterwards, and I've said this in meetings past, but I'll take this opportunity to say it again. I think the understanding was that, or an understanding or a belief, was that a lot of parcels that were purchased in the 70s and the 80s for conservation, they would be conserved in their purposes at the time, their uses at the time. And several of the large parcels that the town bought were active producing agriculture and
Except that the town decided to do active recreation on Clara. Clara was all.
Well, it shouldn't be any more than 5 acres of active recreation due to for the town meeting vote which purchased it.
Yes, but I mean that would still be a fair amount. I'm not complaining that it's not recreational land, but I was just you made that comment, and so the town wasn't in that mindset back then. I don't think.
Yeah.
Preserving active agriculture.
Oh. Well, hey, we can agree to disagree. I think that's what people thought. I know when I went and voted for 1011 Hill Road, that's what I thought.
Was that the Robinson piece?
Yeah.
Really? You were voting age?
Yeah.
Back then?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I think I bought it in 1976.
I was a voting age.
Oh, wow.
I voted for my first time I voted was in the presidential primary that year. I voted for Lyndon LaRouche.
God.
Well, you're younger than I am, I think.
Oh, so we owned Robinson before, and we had tacked on the rest of the Patch Hill property.
Oh, yeah, no.
I didn't realize that.
Patch Hill is people talking pieces.
That's the Wallace A. Robinson conservation parcel that's memorialized in the granite marker that's there.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that, I've always been surprised that George never had continuing agriculture as some kind of requirement.
I've since looked it up. The writing in the on when it was purchased, it only specified his lifetime. It didn't even, it was bought from George and Barbara, and it didn't even specify their lifetime. It specified his. And then she allowed Donald to hay it for a number of years after, well, first George wasn't able, and then George had passed, and then that came to a halt.
So there was nothing permanent, either formal or informal.
It did look nicer as a hayfield than it does now.
Than it does now, again, although that's kind of subjective. I mean, I'd like to see a lot of milkweed.
There's a lot of, like I said a minute ago, there's a lot of, I think the milkweed's been crowded out by the.
It may be.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that and see what the status is.
So what's the one we haven't hit yet? I think the only one we haven't hit is
Rear Schoolhouse Lane.
Yes, so that's, you know, we think of it as next to, Blue Sager. So it has a Hill Road address, but it's got a rear of 45, Schoolhouse Lane address.
And this is where Donnie used to graze his
correct,
cows.
yeah, for a number of years.
And this is part of Half Pond.
Is it?
Or no, it's Half Moon Meadow. No, Hager Meadow.
Hager.
Hager Meadow. Sorry, Hager.
Yeah.
You might get there. Hager Meadow.
Bruce kept calling it Hager Meadow. I've spoken to him, within the last few days.
Yeah, it's Hager Meadow, but we've now we've connected. It's now connected at along 495 with the Half Pond parcel.
Yeah, I'm not all that familiar with this parcel. Again, I mean, on paper, it looks, you know, very suitable, certainly for haying, but I don't know what's there currently in the field in terms of, you know, botanical biodiversity. And so again, I'd like to know that.
How would you get onto it to hay?
Bruce said that, well, as you know now, or if you click the trail layer on the,
Yeah, there's a trail from Hill Road.
Yeah.
Which one, which one is Bruce's house?
Yes.
Bruce is the 04025000.
Okay, so do you see that? Okay, bottom middle,
Right at the bottom
okay.
center.
Bottom center, yeah.
So, do you see that, orange line that goes along, that cuts the two properties?
Yeah,
That is pretty much where the trail goes, and then there's a little gate that goes into the mode area that you see.
So the trail is on Bruce's property.
The trail is an easement right across the front of Bruce's property.
Like a tractor.
That's what goes.
Well, so that's what I called Bruce to find out if it was just a pedestrian easement, because he does mow around the edge
Yes,
there, and he puts some arrows out so that people
Yeah.
stay in the right area. He said he honestly didn't know, what it was in terms of an easement, in terms of how wide it was, but that he would have no problem whatsoever if someone went in there a couple of times a year, you know, for something like hay. When Donald grazed, his animals there, it had been, he had started doing it under, Bruce's, aunt, his Aunt Betty. And it continued for the first few years that, you guys had ownership of the parcel.
Right.
And,
People that would go into the gate and have to sort of dodge the grazing cows that were.
So this is, animals had been there, livestock has been there until fairly recently.
yes.
Yeah.
But let me continue the thought there. So when the Angus were grazing there, during moister times of year, there were some places, even on this parcel, where they would drink. And then in some summers, some years it would dry right out. They would have to walk back to Donald. But they had free range. They would walk back to Donald's when they needed to drink, because he always had water there, you know, running water there.
Well, I think his parcel is.
404-018, I think.
Yes.
That's it there.
So, you know, he ended up breaking the wall, and they would just go on back, and he had tanks that he kept pumping and so on and so forth. Part of Bruce's conversation with me was that if it were to be used for, or he'd be less comfortable with it being restored for grazing, because it would be no longer connected to Donald's. And the water sources on that property do dry out in dry years, and he'd hate to have somebody have to drive in there every single day to fill a water tank or something, you know. So that would have to, you know, but in terms of bringing back the hay fields, he didn't have a problem with that at all. And he wasn't able to quote chapter and verse, but he believes it's the property owner's obligation to keep those fields that were open when Betty sold the land or gave the land, I forget. He believes it's the responsibility to keep them open.
But I do think that the easement should be formally changed if it doesn't allow it already, to allow permanent access back there by tractor or something like that.
Hmm.
Because none of us is gonna be around forever, Bruce included, and,
Right.
you know, I think there should be that
Well, it may
option.
not even need to be changed.
Right,
It needs to be looked at, it needs to be investigated, just like all these myriad other things we've been talking about. So,
Okay, interesting.
and just anecdotally, when I worked for Robinson and he leased this property from Betty, we would go in and we'd get a first cut of hay off all the way down to here. We'd go all the way up here. The one parcel you can really see, there were two other parcels that were hayed every single year. We got a good first cut off them, and then they'd be pastured for the remainder of the growing season. The cows would pasture.
I mean, you wouldn't need it if haying were to resume, you know, with cutting, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year at most. I mean, you wouldn't plan on taking down any trees.
Field edge maintenance, particularly the overhanging stuff, I mean, I would hope that would be.
But like, it looks like there's some fairly mature trees, you know, pretty.
Again, get out on the property and let's have a discussion, but yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah.
So this property,
Field edge maintenance, please, larger trees, that don't need to come down, that are nice and healthy, let's let them hold their carbon.
so this has a trail system on it, does it?
Yes,
It does.
I don't know what's it called.
Hager Meadow.
Hager.
Does it hook up in the upper left and go back towards?
Yes, I think, yes. That little, you go, cuts right through, you follow that little orange thing, cut through to the back, and then you go parallel to, 495 until you get to the, not pond trail.
Well, I think
It's pretty ugly. It's an ugly little trail right along 495. There's a fence, there's a fence along 495, so you're on the, the inside of the fence, but, it's pretty darn noisy, yeah. But, mountain bikers like to use it,
Yeah.
and it does allow you to stay off the roads. I mean, you're in conservation,
Yeah.
and it's sort of cool.
It's best work. Yes, haven't been in like a, you wouldn't even see that at all.
Oh, yeah, it is actually better.
I feel like
It is
they're like
better.
muffled the sound.
It is a little better in the summer, right?
Yeah.
When there's some muffling of the sound.
use CPC funds with some noise barriers.
A good game time.
All right. Yeah, so you're gonna have your meeting or with.
I'm gonna go, I signed up to go to this thing on the 26th as well.
And we can get some feedback maybe from Ian and maybe you on this and,
Well, I think they're looking for feedback from us.
for now?
Well, no, I don't think, nothing definite.
Nothing definite tonight, just please be aware,
Yeah,
now you're aware.
This was a good heads up.
Yeah.
I'll certainly be thinking about it.
There's sheets that are associated, I guess, he's managed to double sided, so on the back of each one is sort of the way we answered their questions. And some of them, I think we might have, well, you'll see them, I mean, they, let's see, forage crops, obviously that applies to hay, and we might have mentioned, partial pasture, like, perhaps, partial pasture, to be discussed, obviously, and to be negotiated like everything else, they'll say livestock question and we'll say to be negotiated,
Yeah.
and maybe the answer is no. But we think we should, at least for this initial, it's a possibility, let's see, let's see.
And maybe you can't answer this question, but do you have any, suppose, like, we're supportive of having goats on a parcel. Do you have any sense of who would be doing that?
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm traveling to Framingham on the 26th,
In
We have
Rolling
some-
Meadows, it was very convenient because Jim Faulkner lived right there.
and so water wasn't a problem.
So I think,
And electricity to the fence wasn't.
right, so, but I think to do that in the future is the logistics are gonna be more difficult.
Right, so we've had some parcels in town that have been used, none currently that I know of, but, the Land for Good organization, we've had farmers come in and work for a year or 2 or 5 on some small parcels around town. And someone, we don't know, we're all just searching, just as an example, well, I mean, that's the example. We're hoping to connect with people. Maybe there's, you know,
I mean, I think there are, I don't know the names off the top of my head. I think there are 2 or 3 well-known people who do have goats and they sort of travel around, do this sort of thing.
yeah. And just like, again, when I was much younger, there are animals that are in season and need to be close to the barn and all that type of thing. And then there are animals that are either younger or out of season and they can please be pastured somewhere else. And there may be people, you know, in Wilton or you know, who the heck knows where, but people that we're just not aware of. If these can be brought back somewhat, you know, I think it's well, that's what AgCom is for, to try and see if these things can't be facilitated.
And so what are good, sorry, this is a little off topic. So what are good farming soils? I see we have Merrimack fine sandy loam and Montauk fine sandy loam and Narragansett silt loam and.
Those are all pretty good.
Those are all.
Sandy loam is good.
Sure, depending on what you get.
You
You want
get
to grow
sandy
strawberries? Yeah, absolutely.
So there's this loam, it's good soil.
I would imagine Freetown muck is not so good.
Yeah, if you look where that is.
Not unless you're trying to grow hummocks.
Oh, Swansea.
These are great
Swansea
names.
buckets.
I know, I love it. Who, okay, that, sorry, I just had to have a little diversion.
So,
I didn't even know there were this many kinds of,
Well, there's loam and sand and there's sandy loam.
apparently, oh wow.
so just for record, so what other parcels are mowed regularly in town for hay? Like Steel Farm, is that?
Well, still
Clara.
farm, still farm in Florida, you know, I mean, you guys have between the 40-foot wide dog paths and the.
I know,
and the- and the-
I know.
And the bigger parking areas, you guys have shrunken the hay production.
Not us, I have to talk to the DPW, because honestly, it's like, it is out of control. Yes, it is. How wide do you need a path to walk your dog around the edge? So I am planning, because last year was, I thought they'd gone way over. And I want to move that stupid little granite bench, because that's what, I mean, they all mow around that granite bench, which is like, whatever.
Just for,
yeah.
mowing for a path for dogs, that's different from mowing for hay, right? And
Yeah.
Double dip.
He was just complaining that the
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
left for hay.
Yeah, for.
That's
But
right.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Steel Farm, I'm just curious.
Let's see,
Bill Sutcliffe.
Bill Sutcliffe, Stowe Road near Richardson Road. He's like opposite the airport fields, as you can see. The airport fields, there's something going on there, but he's another one that when this group gets into doing private, reaching out to private property owners, I would like to.
Oh, reach out to,
Yeah. There is a good area that's in both Boxborough and Stowe, that's airport property, that's at the end of, what's the name of that dead end road? Tamarack Lane, yeah. That's been in good production now for a number of years. It's not hay, but it's good production. Our other hay farm is Margaret Delano. She's 604 Hill Road. Think of Weatherby Lane. So go down Weatherby Lane, and you know, you really don't want to be driving down there. It's basically, well, as soon as you turn onto Weatherby Lane, you're on her anyway. But you can certainly look her up on the web. She's got, her land is in APR. She's got an agricultural preservation restriction. She's one of two. The other one is Burroughs Farm, which is the farmland remaining on Burroughs Road there. The original farmhouse and barn and several house lots have been sold off, but beautiful flat farmland going back towards the airport.
and it's farmed as well.
Yeah, and it's, and that's the other APR. We have two.
Wait, which number of boroughs did you say?
I think his number of boroughs is like 360 or maybe 370.
Is it the blue farms, like right across from the? I thought we.
He doesn't have a house there. He's got a barn.
Oh,
He's got a barn, yeah.
Yeah, the original farmhouse was sold off.
I see.
When the last
I
farmer
think it's
lived there
yellow.
passed away.
There's one, our friend's house has like a silo in the back, and we're like, "This is so cool. Do you have a silo?" And we're like, "Yeah, we just look at it. We don't even know what to do with it." We're like, "Oh, that's so cool." I should look it up. It's Foxborough. It's like almost in Stowe on Burroughs or Stowe. I never know where. It's like how I drive to karate. We pass it every time I go towards Stowe.
On the left-hand side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bluish, blue and with white trim.
Is it now?
Right,
Okay,
right.
alright.
It's you wouldn't see the silo from the front, but we went over and hung out with them, and then they're like, when we went in the backyard, and we're like, wait, what? You have a silo?
It's brown shingle, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
shingle.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
it's like,
where's West
you
Side?
can walk to Clara from it. Like you can
Yeah.
walk through.
So that's Stowe Road.
Clara, yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah.
the silo there.
Oh, yeah,
It's crazy. It's so cool.
Neat.
And they're like, we just look at it.
hold on,
Cool.
the cruise. They have land
Oh,
on
yeah.
Wakefield Road, opposite Rolling Meadow, they have land on, Depot Road. They own both sides of the road, the hayfield is where the barn is, opposite the house. And then,
No, go ahead.
yeah, opposite where this gentleman grew up. And then up the hill, it's now called Luton Road. It wasn't when we were
Yeah.
younger.
Yes,
But
yes.
he has a field down there, which is, it's about maybe 10% in Boxborough and the rest is in Littleton. And the property was cut off by Route 2. They
There's
got-
a
I know that land, top of the hill.
And then the little SVT parcel there, I have a lease on that. I get the hay off of that little parcel.
Have you thought of approaching the Cruzen family to get lease on their land? From their land? When I say you, I mean the commission.
They're in the process of working a lot of things out, prior to George's passing and since he passed. One of the granddaughters lives there in the house now, and they're working on these things. I believe, the property is in a couple of different trusts and a couple of the children are the trustees and are working on a lot of things. They've been in, I went on a 5.5 hour walk, not this past winter, but the winter before, with the aforementioned 3-letter organization.
Yeah, I get it, work closely with SVT.
Yeah, so they're doing what they can to fulfill their parents' vision.
Well, we'll hope for the best.
Yeah, hopefully that's.
Yeah, but in the meantime,
So a lot of parcels.
Yeah.
Is it just haying you're doing? Or would you do something else like plant apple trees or something?
Who?
The type of agriculture. Like
oh, well, if someone came and wanted to have an orchard, we would bring that to you for discussion.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's a long time horizon.
Yeah, I mean, organic farming is tough, organic orchards are tough. Most of the land around here you can usually find arsenic in it because there were apple orchards everywhere.
Well, when we bought Rolling Meadows, there were still a lot of living apple trees. It's too bad that they weren't preserved.
They get too old anyway.
Well, but I think if they had been maintained, they would have survived.
Okay, so thank you. I think that was very
Thank you, yeah,
interesting.
we'll be going and we'll be,
This sounds like it'll be ongoing discussion.
yeah.
Very helpful, thank
Yeah, that
you.
was great.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna leave just yet.
Okay. Are we gonna talk about the proposed general bylaws from the planning board, because they had their hearing on
Yeah,
Monday.
we're gonna actually skip that because
Oh,
I
yeah.
do not
Okay.
I do not have the final product. We did move forward with actually the two that you guys had looked at last time. They did get carved up a bit, especially the SCAR one. I'll give you the short brief on that. We brought it to legal counsel and they had suggested not doing both the home rule petition and the SCAR bylaw. It was their opinion that we should only bring the home rule petition to town meeting, essentially asking the state permission to later bring the SCAR bylaw to town meeting. So yeah, we will vote to petition the state, join the long list of towns and communities that are trying to ban SCARs. We all know that this is more of an effort to join that group of of communities rather than actually get heard by the state, because we know that all of these communities are really just held up in their respective legislative bodies right now. So we'll move forward with that. We'll look at them in depth, or we'll look at them again next meeting once I have the final product. But yeah. And then
Yeah,
other
everyone
than that,
understands why we're going home rule petition, right? Because the state has reserved the right to regulate pesticides and herbicides. And so that towns are not free
Right.
to just ban
Yeah.
the use of these chemicals. So
So the
You have to
home rule
get-
petition requests permission for the.
yes, so the home rule petition is requesting, letting us be able to regulate them for our own town. And I know probably all of you know Sam Anderson works for Mass Audubon, is trying to put pressure on, trying to bring legislation forward for the state to actually ban them, or
Okay, cool.
doing some similar things to what we're proposing.
Yeah.
But so in the meantime, the more towns that pile on with these home rule petitions, the feeling is there's just more of an argument in favor of the state just going forward and banning them statewide. So anyway, just thought I would make that comment.
yeah.
So are we still going to be able to comment on these in time to make just indicate that we are in favor of these two for town meeting? Yes, right?
Yes. Yeah, we should be
Okay.
able to. If you guys would like,
Like maybe at our next meeting.
if you guys would like, I could pull up the draft language that hasn't been finalized, and we could vote on it now just to get the comments out of the way. Just because I know that date's approaching. I just cannot remember if it's before or after April 1. Let me see what I have right now. I know it's not in your packet. We did review it in full last time. Only thing is,
Yeah, I agree. I guess I would like at least, even if we don't have language that we've agreed on, that we at least have a vote that shows that we were in favor, and we can make our comments at town meeting.
Well, we would want our recommendation printed in the warrant.
And yes, well, ideally, we would like ideally that we would like that.
Isn't that what we're shooting for right
I
now?
guess that is, but you would have to also authorize me to draft that, because we won't have time, I don't think,
Well, as long as we
to
put
review it.
Well, so it's more than just, the Conservation Commission supporters, you have to do a little bit more.
Right, I suppose that's true.
here, let me pull them up, and I will let you guys decide. So this is what has been cut down. You guys can see. So it was a couple. Yes, yep. It was a couple. It was a couple pages at first, and it had defined the terms in the that were put in this, and now it is essentially just asking the state to allow a home rule petition. And at the bottom, it references the future bylaw or a coming bylaw once we get permission to conduct the home rule petition.
Yeah, so we're asking that the town of Boxborough be permitted to prohibit or restrict the application of second generation anticoagulant, whether that decides, which
Sounds good to me.
sounds good to all of us. So, can I have a motion to
Recommend the article
Oh, yes,
authorizing the
recommend
town
the
of Boxborough to prohibit.
yeah, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Come on. Aye. So that's 5. Yes, and then I think, we should probably authorize me to draft the recommendation.
Yes, so you would
because
you'd seek a motion authorizing the chair to draft the recommendation on behalf of the CONSCOM, recommending the article as voted.
So then the way that would work.
So moved.
So
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. That's to authorize the chair to draft on behalf of the Conservation Commission to draft the wording of our recommendation.
And I seconded
The
it.
voted, Decide. Rhododendron. What are we making, rhododendron? Plus second rodenticide.
Right.
Listen, rodenticide. Ian, what do you think?
What are you kidding?
I just made it.
You made it, okay, yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so just so I understand.
Okay. Before you go,
Yes.
yeah, what?
Okay, so the way this will work then is at the APM, we'll be able to say that Conscom recommended 5-0 that
Yes,
so and so. And then if you will then get up and read the recommendation. or
it will be printed in the warrant, so that's great. Everybody can see it.
Okay.
I doubt, I mean, if they give, the Conservation Commission the opportunity, usually they give the FinCom and the select board. But maybe if they're feeling generous, they can go through the whole list of people who are recommending, and we can, either read our recommendation or say, as printed in the warrant.
Okay,
You know.
and that, thank you, just wanted to understand the mechanism, got it,
Right.
makes sense.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so, thank you. So next, this is the, plastic bag, polystyrene and disposable plastic reduction bylaw. So this would be a bylaw.
Yes,
And that's-
correct.
And it is prohibiting the use of all these, like,
Types of bags.
types of bags that are.
For all the places that we have in Bosphorus.
Yes.
Give me bags.
We have one more. And that's the bakery. But
Oh, but do they give you plastic bags?
they don't,
Could you imagine?
no.
I feel like they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, so we don't, it doesn't really affect a lot of people, but I think it would be wonderful.
It's good to just have running.
Exactly. And this is, we talked about last time, this is taken from, bylaws that other towns have adopted,
Right.
including Acton.
Yeah, like Westford.
Yeah, so, are we generally in favor of this? So all those, can I have a motion to, recommend, this, article on the banning of plastic bag, polystyrene, and disposable plastic
So moved,
reduction bylaw? Okay,
so moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And would you also, authorize the chair to draft a recommendation to be printed in the warrant?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you could include that.
So
I will
moved.
make a motion to, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even know his name.
Did you make a motion? And somebody second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We are just about out of here. Let me run through these last few items.
Okay, so, yes.
Oh, yes, when we, this is our, oh, yes, finally.
Yep. So Dave Barnett reached out to me.
I think we have this in our packet.
Yeah, so little to update here. I did reach back to David and say that he, as the land steward manager or land steward coordinator, should and can be the one to sign. If there's no qualms with that from the commission, I will recommend that he sign this letter of agreement for the Weed Warriors. More to hear about that in the coming weeks. We're going to have a kickoff meeting sometime in early April for the SISMA project. We'll meet with him. We'll meet with Dave Barnett, some representatives from the commission, and Scott Smyers to go over some goals and timeline for the SISMA project. And then he did ask to attend the April 1st meeting, which I told him we will expect to have that discussion then. He'll also be walking the Patch Hill site on Tuesday. I'll be joining him for that. I'm not sure if anybody else would like to attend. Don't feel pressured to, but yeah.
I'd like to, but I can't. There are a couple things.
It's working. What's your thing?
My paid job interfering again. But one thing I would like to point out, Ian, and I'll send an email, that at one time, there were a couple of really large butternut trees right on the Patch Hill property, right next to the boundary with Nancy Howe. I don't know whether the bittersweet has killed them at this point. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have, but I would like those to be looked at. If there's any way at all, those could be saved. I don't know, I mean, you can still see bittersweet this time of year.
Yeah. What was,
I
you
can-
said Nancy who?
Nancy Howe, right
HAL?
next to the, yeah, right.
HOWE, I think.
It's to the south.
HOWE.
It
Oh,
would be
how? I
her,
gotcha. Okay.
it would be the portion of her boundary that comes in perpendicularly off of, Liberty Square Road, not the part of back. I can mark up a map and
Okay.
show
Perfect. Yeah,
you
I'll
the
look for it
location.
too, and I'll see where we're walking on
Might have to do a little
Tuesday.
bit of bushwhacking to get in there, but it would be really great to know whether those trees could be saved.
Okay, perfect. I'll bring this some correspondence to our attention, and then I believe we are just about done. This was sent to me some months back, and they have knocked on my door yesterday asking about a this property, 240 Littleton County Road, is very, very far into the corner of Boxborough, all the way up there. They own this office park here, and they would like to connect to the Littleton water line because who wouldn't? They have some wetlands around there, as you can see, and their plan is looking to connect their building, this large building here, to the water line, hugging their building, going up here and crossing the road, essentially to avoid the wetland altogether. So we can do a request for determination of applicability. We can request for full plan set. Yeah, we have a couple options to go with. I'll bring up the plans here. So this is north, I'll point out. And this is the,
Yours are the right side as well? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, this here is the building, the blue, and this is
Yeah.
essentially the rough sketch of their proposed water line with the buffer in yellow.
So what are they trying to connect to again?
The little
Water line that's running down the middle of the.
Yeah, this is Beaverbrook Road here.
Right down to Cogman.
And this is actually, this is across from some of these parcels. These parcels that we discussed last week. Put on the satellite so you can.
But the sketch of the connection goes off the page at the bottom. So it's going where?
No, sorry, it's supposed to, they're trying to illustrate that it will essentially connect here and go around the building.
Right here.
Because
Right
this
there.
does not show the full extent of the building.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a corner of the building and it's going around that corner. Is that what that's supposed to be? That
Yeah, she said that it would likely connect on this side of the building, right on the corner of
so
this side.
That's the edge of that this is the edge of the building.
Okay.
And then it would go up here
And then this is
and cross the road, essentially where you see this,
right.
where it's furthest from these two wetlands. And as you remember, we did discuss at least in our discussion on the CR restriction that there's a path here. So I'm assuming that the hookup would be somewhere around the entrance of this path.
And it looks like it's out of the buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did they just draw these on their own? Or did they actually do some mapping that this is?
Yeah, that's the only thing is that they likely drew this on their own and they have their own plan in their head, but they haven't had it fully done yet. So what I can do is request engineer plans stamped for when they do plan on moving forward with this project. I'm not sure they're at this stage yet. I think they just wanted to bring this to our attention and get an idea of what the process could look like.
Yeah, I think they should at least show us that they're not gonna be, I mean.
But I mean, they really,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, they have to get a wetland delineation though. You know, in the area where they're doing the work. I don't know if they realize that that's a little bit of an expense, or could be.
The yellow is the buffer zone?
Yes, correct.
Apparently.
According to them, or just like in general?
Yeah, that's according to them.
This is also from the 2023 filing of the NOI for
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
would Campinelli be willing to share that data with them? So if that's the case, they wouldn't have to do a whole new delineation. They would just forward that data to their engineering consultant, and then they can put that on their plan.
Yeah, I can definitely reach out to Jeff and kind of connect the two and see if that's a good way to go about it. But I'll let them know what we've discussed. It sounds like they definitely need some determined plans before moving forward with this. And yeah, I like I said, they're not right there yet. They just want to get an idea of what the scope might look like.
If by chance they do have to go into the buffer zone, I think it's an RDA. Like, I don't see why a full-blown notice of intent would be.
Okay. All right, good. I'll note that and I'll let them know.
We kind of drew the line there, didn't they?
Yeah, I know, I think we definitely need, right.
There's a note here that says they got 100 buffer on it.
Well, yeah, so
The question is, where'd they get,
well, it looks like the wetland is across Beaverbrook Road.
right?
So they've just scaled it off somehow. I don't know how. Well, the scale's on the plan, but
Oh, sorry, I did not show this one.
Yeah, it's hard to know, because here's the thing, their little blue, so what, so let me back up a minute and ask this. Are, the blue lines are the ones that they put in, they drafted the blue line, correct?
Yes, correct.
and the yellow.
And did they also
The
do the yellow lines?
They did not draft the yellow lines. I did go back and check the
So that is part of this, for permit review, that is part of the stamp plan, the yellow line.
Here, we'll double check just to make sure, but
Yeah, it looks hand drawn.
It does look hand drawn, but
it does. If I remember correctly, it's super faint.
Well,
But
it doesn't agree with what's shown on the plans.
It's sort of an arch, and it doesn't really
Well,
fall.
I mean, there are two.
Let me
buffer
look real
zones.
quick.
Mine is, yeah, that's
Yeah,
why I
there's an exception.
I mean, there are a number of wetland resource areas out there.
There's also a riverfront. buffer.
Yeah, so, anyway, we do need a little more than this. It's,
I believe it is super faint. As you can see here, this arrow points to the 100-foot wetlands buffer. This was a scan of a scan, I believe. I'm going to double check just to be certain. But I believe that line on the original plans was super, super fine.
Oh, they traced it?
Well,
yes, and they traced it with yellow.
okay.
Well,
No
okay.
way.
Well, except
There's no way.
some, you can see some buffer zones, you can't see others. I guess that's why, maybe that's because of a scan of a scan.
I like the way. Little like.
Okay.
Or we're just gonna ask for more info, right?
Yeah, we just have to be more sure that they're not.
The only thing I wonder about this, and Steve, you could probably answer this, was their property part of the intermunicipal agreement, Littleton, to hook up to this water? If it wasn't, I don't see how they would be allowed to.
Yeah, I think they have to go through a little bit of work.
They'll have to go, they'll have to do their own process.
Yeah, Littleton could allow it to do that.
But I would think that the town would then have to get involved, since it's the intermunicipal
It
agreement
actually,
is time between the two towns.
she even says Littleton Water is giving us the opportunity to connect to their water line going down Beaverbrook Road. So they've been approached.
Well, that means they'd be taking some water out
That's
there
right.
and going down the road.
That's right, and there's a set amount of water that's already been agreed to in the intermunicipal agreement. If they're gonna be taking away from it, that is gonna be less for everyone else.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily the conservation commission's concern, but I'd like to know about that.
Yeah.
Maybe for the water resources.
Okay, would too,
Okay.
Can you guys see that?
So what's our,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, that looks better. That is a better lot.
Okay, yeah, that's like dot to dot.
My guess is they probably printed it in black and white and then re-highlighted it. I'm not sure, but yeah, as you can see, it is.
Does look like they're out
It
of
is shown here.
Yeah. But what's the green?
But this is just a hand sketch as far as, I mean, maybe there's certain.
No, this
constraints.
is
No,
actually,
I'm
This
talking
is
about
their
the water
NOI.
oh, the water line is a
Water
hand
line
sketch.
is just a
Yes.
hand sketch.
That's right.
There may be certain constraints on
Yes.
site that prevent them from
Yeah,
going to that
yes,
route.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah, they would have to have a clearer idea of where that line is going to go.
All right, sounds good. That's plenty of information that I can give back to them. That's all I have. We had that beaver thing that I mentioned, and maybe in the last few moments, David specifically, what would you recommend the next step for this is? This is the homeowner at 50 Hill Road that we were just talking about. We're not sure that their A is a beaver. We're not sure that the beaver is on their property, but they are looking for possible relocation or beaver deceiver mitigation.
Is that down by the school, by the Taylor School?
No, this
Yeah.
is,
Yes, it's
It's
the
on- yeah,
house
it's on-
behind the Taylor
yeah,
School.
the Taylor
Not on
School.
Cunningham, but on Hill Road.
Yeah, like, so where?
well, I mean, the first thing that has to be determined is where the beaver dam is located. Because that's where, if it's on their property and they're willing to, have a beaver deceiver, be installed, the Conservation Commission has to approve that through a formal filing. But if it's not on their property, then it seems like it's a moot point that Gutierrez would have to be contacted and,
To go around with it.
that the concern expressed to them. I don't know why they wouldn't be agreeable to having the dam removed. They may not be agreeable to having a beaver deceiver put in. But that would be the process. Unless.
All right, sounds good. I'll reach
Unless
out
the Board
to
of Health-
Kevin.
I was just saying, unless the Board of Health determines and it's an emergency, then the Board of Health can order that it be removed.
All right, sounds good. I'll keep an eye on it. I drive up it I was driving up it a bit more when it was flooded in the wintertime, but I'll keep an eye on it and I'll reach back out to the owners of 50 Hill Road and let them know. It doesn't look like, I'll be honest, it doesn't look like it would be on their property
No,
just
no,
by
it
this.
doesn't. It doesn't.
All right, sounds good. And I have a contact for Paddock as well, who I can get in
Right.
contact with.
Yeah, that was more likely.
Great. Cool.
All right,
All right.
wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Ian.
you, Ian. Can I have a motion to adjourn meeting?
Liz, can I ask one thing? Remember when we were in that meeting, whenever it was, a week ago in the morning? And I asked you to ask the commission to ask about those who, I know David was originally named as well as Sam, but it was a while ago. I'm talking about the working group from Purpose Woods. So,
Great.
and we've still got myself and Brian Clemens, and we're wondering if David is still interested and
Yeah, I'm still interested.
if there's another member that
David?
you got to designate.
Anybody else who want to be on that?
Sure. This is,
I want to in my heart,
yeah, I wasn't.
practicality wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's not street, it's very-
Yeah, you like live there.
Yeah,
But I just want to remind you, Steve, that Thursdays really only work for me. If those don't work for you, maybe.
But what about every other Wednesday?
yeah, Thursday
No.
nights are just not gonna work for me.
Uh,
How about, could the very first meeting, could it be, sometime during the day?
that's a possibility.
The snow is almost gone in the woods now, and, just to, get all our minds in the same place in terms of what's where and what's going on.
Yeah, I think, maybe a Thursday morning would work.
Thursday mornings work for me.
Excellent. So Steve and Dave,
I'll email, the four of us.
yeah, so, and sorry, I do recall
Yeah,
that I should have brought
Thank
that
you
up.
for allowing me to do it.
That should have been under chairman's reports, but anyway, moving right along, we're going to have a motion to, adjourn.
Yes.
Could we please adjourn?
So moved.